This is a daily highlight build of my lockdown. I've pretty much been playing rec majority of the time. I'm a rec player, if you can see from my past videos. But this is by far the best lockdown build you can make on this game. I've seen people make different type of lockdown builds, which depending on what style of play you are, then you can make a different one. But for me personally, I've always wanted to make a build that can do a little bit of everything, not just play good defense, but also be able to play good offense. Be able to handle the ball, be able to shoot the ball. As you can see from the clips, this build can pretty much do everything. Um, Again, depending on your style of play. If you, in my opinion, want to have a bit more fun in this game, if you're not really a comp player, I wouldn't recommend making these sort of pure lockdown builds 6-5, simply because you're going to put too many attributes in the wrong place, and you're going to be missing your ball handling, or you're going to be missing your passing. So you're pretty much useless if your team isn't there. And that's the one thing I didn't want to do when I made this build was, look, even if my friends aren't there, if I'm not playing with anyone else, if I'm playing by myself, I want to be able to know that, look, I can do enough to carry a team. And to be honest, when I actually initially made this build, I never made it to guard the smaller players. I just in my head, I thought it was going to be a little bit too big for that to happen. But since playing the game, I realized build can actually keep up with the guards in terms of defense. Just trolling right here. But the build can, as you can see, I do get 85 ball handling. Um, I made the build a little bit more unique. So in hindsight, what am I going to change about this build? Probably the playmaking. I've got about 26 to 28 badge points on my playmaking. Realistically, I probably only need about 24. And that could probably be more badge point towards my shooting or finishing, but finishing is pretty good so far. So I wouldn't necessarily change a lot of things about the build. The build is amazing. You're able to do a lot more than what just a pure lockdown will give you. Talking about pure lockdowns, yes, they're extremely annoying this year. Even not just my build, but even other builds are struggling with it. I play with 6'5" and 6'4" point guards that are just getting stripped up very, very easily by these lockdowns. I do think, some patch needs to come through to at least reduce the frequency of the steal, just so it can force you to play a bit of defense. But the way I made this build, bearing in mind I am 6'7", everything is maxed out. So I've got max interior defense, max block, max steal, max rebounding. So the build can do everything. I get a lot of chase down blocks. Some of these lockdowns only have pyramid defense and rebounds. Again, depending on what style of play or what mode of game you're playing, it might be enough. But if you're predominantly a park player, then by all means, probably make the 6'5" lockdown because you can have your guard. But if you're going to be a rec player, you want to have a bit more fun, then this build by far is the best build. As you can see from these clips, the build can do everything. I can shoot effectively, I can handle the ball, I can play amazing defense. The trick about this build is I did like my 6'7" from last year. The one key thing about the power forward 6'7" this year is your speed is capped at like 76 or 78. I'm not quite sure which one it is. So basically, in order for you to be able to counter that, it's mainly due to your weight. So as a small forward, you can go lesser weight than a power forward, so you can still make the 6'7", have the same attributes, but at a small forward position, which is what essentially I did with this build. And also you can actually make this build at point guard, so it doesn't have to be a small forward. But I just made that small forward just for my convenience. I like playing more off ball and guarding the PGs if needed, but most of the time I prefer just to get off ball steals. But so far the build is amazing. I've been having so much fun in it. I don't really see like a deficit on this build. One thing I will say is it's probably not best to be able to guard like the big men. Like, don't get me wrong, I can hold my own with bigs, but I wouldn't predominantly want to be guarding or being like the main five. Like last year in 2K21 current gen, sorry, next gen, you're able to play as a 6'7" and play the 5. That can't happen this year, so that's a big W from 2K. But it depends on your style of play, really. In my opinion, this build that I have right now, sooner or later, once a lot more people find it, it's going to be essentially be the meta of this game, where everyone is just going to make a lockdown build that can, have playmaking and shooting, and everyone's going to be. Again, I give it maybe a couple more weeks. Once one of these big YouTubers get a hold of this build, they'll make a video about it, and everyone's going to start making it. But this is pretty much a daily highlight clip. I'll probably post a little bit more, but yeah, I hope you enjoy.